Have you left the relationship but still feel like you're eating, sleeping, and breathing your ex? This episode is going to explain why you can't stop thinking about him and how to shift out of it. Today is a very candid and real and raw conversation that is going to change your life. If you are stuck in this preoccupation with your ex, finding yourself ruminating and obsessing and thinking about him and his life and what he's doing, or maybe the answers that you want from him or the apology that you want from him, and it feels like even though you've left the relationship, he is still consuming every ounce of your brain and your mind space and your life, you are exactly where you need to be. I am speaking with a dear, dear client of mine named Abby, who is in the exact same place that you are in right now. And if you need proof that you can shift away from your ex, that you can actually wake up one day and not think about him first thing in the morning or at all that whole entire day, Abby is that, she is that beacon of light that is going to guide you through your storm. In this episode, you are going to hear the life-changing way that Abby finally found closure with her ex that didn't involve her ex at all. You're going to hear what actually gets you out of that constant overthinking and that mental obsession that is driving you fucking crazy. And you're going to hear about the shift that Abby had that helped her move from being consumed by him to finally finding herself and her life again. I promise you this is an episode that you are not going to want to miss. And be sure to stick around to the very end where Abby helps me pull an oracle card that offers you a message that you can use in your healing this week. Okay, so let's take a deep breath and begin. Abby, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I love, love, love having clients on the pod because, and you specifically, because you also found me through the podcast. You being able to speak directly to your experience is so resonant for people who are listening because you're in the place that, or you were in the place that they are in. So I want you to really paint this picture for us of what it was feeling like for you when you were at the point of you had left your ex, you were still very preoccupied, fixated, ruminating around him, spending a lot of your mental energy on him. Even though you had left, even though you were at your like rock bottom moment of I can't do this anymore. Walk us through what was that experience like for you? What was your day-to-day?
Okay, well, first I want to thank you for even having me on here because it was such a full circle moment. Because, like you said, I did find you on the podcast. Like, I'm in Indiana, you're in Colorado, I'm states away. How I even found you, I have no idea. But it was great. So to be asked to speak today is a full circle moment for me for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so when I left my ex March of last year, and I spent like 6 months trying to heal on my own. Like, I started going down a rabbit hole of, toxic relationships, leaving relationships involving kids, like, what and then things that were coming up for me was your episodes kept popping up a little bit. A lot of things on narcissism kept popping up, and I'm like, okay, so now, okay, that's what I'm coming out of. Like, I was resonating with everything you were saying. I felt like you were talking to me. I'm like, this girl gets it. She
Yeah.
understands. She knows. Like, you talk to other people that maybe haven't experienced it, and you sound crazy. You just they don't understand, and then they're looking at you like, why haven't you left? And you're like, I don't know. Why haven't I left? Like, I'm trying.
Yeah.
So when I physically got out of the relationship and we were separated, I was just stuck in the rumination. I was thinking about conversations. I was thinking about conversations we'd had, thought about conversations I want to have with him, like just getting in a really bad spot. So, and I also had lost my dog. So I feel like when I lost my dog, he kind of came back into my life there to like put my dog down and go through all that. So I thought I was doing okay. But then once that happened, it was like another layer of grief on top of everything else I was already feeling. So I feel like he might have exploited that little window of emotional things I was going through,
Yeah.
and, yeah, I just kept getting stuck, stuck, stuck. So one of your podcasts I listened to, at the very end of it, you had said something along the lines of, like, don't keep getting stuck in the same feelings. Don't keep going week after week feeling stuck in the same spot, and that's where I was.
Yeah.
So I booked the free session, and then I even had to I canceled it, rescheduled it, and then that week of making the first one, canceling it, and then making the second one, within that week, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm here." Again, just like she said, a week later, and I'm still in the same spot. So 6 months of that, I'm like, "Okay, there is something that I need to do." So I went ahead and booked the session with you, and just seeing you and seeing how calm you were and just understanding, and it just made me feel like I wanted to be where you are, and I knew that I could, but I was so stuck. So some of the fears that I had coming into it was financially. I didn't think I was going to be able to afford it. I really was didn't understand that it was a group session, group setting, and it was online and not in person. So me trying to find all of these reasons of why I wasn't going to do it. I'm like, I can't afford it. I want to be in person. I want it to be a one-on-one. And you told me, just try it. Just try it one time. And if it's not for you, you can go the other way. But if it is, I promise it'll work for you if you just work it. So I did. And the financial part has been working out every month. It works out. Um, Having the other girls in the group was so good. We were having the same feelings, and the same things were coming up for us, but they were different situations. So even though they weren't living my life, they could relate to everything, and I didn't feel alone. It was a together thing. So all of those fears just got wiped away the more and deeper that we went into things. So after the first session, I didn't know what to expect. I honestly didn't know about the tapping really. I didn't know about anything. So it was all new so to witness somebody else go through it, I was like, okay, I think just walking away from that first session, I understood that we have like all these different parts of ourselves. We have this true self part, this higher energy, this who we really are. And then all of these other parts of us that have formed through, I don't know, your upbringing, your how you show up in the world, how you show up in relationships, your attachment styles, just all these things that I didn't know were there. And I'm acting from all these different parts of me instead of giving them what they need, hearing them out, and then tapping back into that true self and living my life from like that lens. So to leave that first session and get that out of it, I was like, I am exactly where I need to be. Like this is only like I can't wait for the next session is how I felt coming out of the first one.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love that. You really did take a big step into the unknown, right?
Mhm.
You were in this place of, I can't keep doing this. This is starting to cost me too much of my mental health, and then the ways that you were interacting with your daughters, how preoccupied, right? That pain was starting to get way too big. And when this opportunity is presented, you don't know what it's going to be like. So it's a huge unknown that you're putting trust in me, you're putting trust in yourself to show up and to take advantage of the ways that I lead. And for you to do that, to take that leap is one of the biggest steps that we do ever. Because once you're in it, then that becomes your new normal. And you
Yeah.
settle in and you like flow with it. But to overcome that fear is huge. So I need to acknowledge that it's possible to do something that feels really scary. And any sort of change that we make in our life, the pain of where we are has to get big enough before we will do that.
Yeah. That's what the one of the things, my big fear I forgot to mention going into it was that if I start this program, I wouldn't want to be with my ex anymore. But
Yes.
that's what I wanted though. I knew that I didn't want to be with him, but I didn't know how to not eat, breathe, sleep him. Like I couldn't, I was physically out of it. I wanted to be done, but in my head, I was just absorbed by him.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I realized like, okay, I don't really care what's next, but all I know is right now, this is not okay for me. And I don't want to keep living like this. So you're
Yeah.
right. The fear or the pain of staying was definitely less than the fear of what was going to be with life without him.
Yeah.
So it was great. And then the thing you kept saying to me in the beginning was he's not your source of healing because I had knew that um, one of the big things that everyone talks about is the blocking his number, keeping his number blocked. He's not the source of the healing. And when I started the program, I was in the phase of blocking, unblocking because we had kids. So he would use that to try to bring it back around and open up communication. And then it was never really about the kid. I started realizing I have other tools now. I have other people to work through these things and not be so involved with him. And the longer that I got on the outside of our breakup and the more I could see, like the more his true colors shined brighter and brighter. And I couldn't deny what I was dealing with. So
Yeah.
I had to move differently in life, mainly for my girls, because I was, and there was a time where I was giving them a bath one evening and I was just sad. All on the inside, I was sad, which I didn't think I was showing it on the outside. I thought it was in my head. And my daughter looked at me and she was like, "What's wrong?" And then that's when I realized, like, okay, now my internal is is coming out in my reality and I'm missing my reality right in front of me. So yeah, I did it for them to show them that you can live in a different way and you deserve more than what you're getting sometimes.
Yeah. What I know you know, but I want the listener to understand is when you are going to that person for healing or for the closure or for the answer or for the apology or for the justice, whatever you're looking for, you're going to a dry well looking for water. And the more that you go to that dry well, hoping that the water is going to be there because you're so thirsty, you need it so badly. Every time that you go there, it's like hurting that part of you over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so you really utilized all aspects of this program. And one, not maybe not in particular, but one that stands out is the support on Slack, the support that's there daily, where you could come and post a message to us and say, "Hey, I'm feeling this way," or "I just did this," or "I'm thinking about doing this," or whatever you were sharing. And then you would get the validation or you would get the reflection or you would get the water, right? You learned how to come to the well that was abundantly flowing with the thing that you needed so that you could get the thing that you needed and not perpetuate this cycle of going to this person that just keeps rewounding you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's a huge that's a huge shift. And for you to be able to feel what it is to get your needs met builds that self-trust, builds that confidence, and it propels your healing from there.
Yeah, you told me one thing when I first started using Slack and was just going in day to day, like, this is what I'm thinking, or this is a story I'm making up in my head, and then to get the feedback from you, I was getting everything I needed from you and from the girls because when I would continue to go back to him to try to get that, I was left more confused. I was like, you're still spinning things. You're still
Yeah.
twisting things. I'm still more confused. Like, this is not how I went into the conversation. I'm leaving more confused than I was going into it. So when I finally just stopped doing that, and mainly it was through your words, because I had told you, I feel like there's so much left unsaid. There's so much that I need to say, and I believe I even said there was so much that he needs to say, and you told me that I need to come to peace with there are going to be things left unsaid. There are going to be loose ends. Like, it's just, you're never going to get the closure that you need from him.
Yeah. Conversations with somebody who is narcissistic, the intention of that conversation is never for repair or closure or like buttoning things up. It's always to create more confusion or to get control. So for you to be able to accept it's not going to come from him and then therefore turn your energy back to yourself, learn how to soothe the feelings and the parts that were coming up in you because you weren't going to get that. That's how you come to the acceptance and the closure.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of self-work and a redirect of control, which you very clearly and were willing to do and did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the redirect and I know a couple times I had said, like, I'm controlling my emotions or I have more control, and you always correct me because you're like, "You're not controlling them, you're just you're managing them as they come up. You're tending to the emotions that come up from, because we can't control them, but they do things to make us, like, their actions do something to us. So what do we do with that? So redirecting that internally and giving my parts what they need, and knowing, my reality versus the story in my head. Because I was so stuck in potential land for so long with him, trying to um hold my family unit together. Like, I wanted my kids to have their biological mom and dad in the same house, and we lived together happy forever because, I grew up with my family unit. So I discovered that's like a value of mine. I want my family unit together. Well, getting so stuck in that place of potentially into my head of, I've seen him be this person. I've seen him connect our family unit, and then it drops off. I'm like, always trying to get back there, always trying to get back there. When in reality, that's not what's actually happening. It was not blissful. It was not happy. It was that I was not showing my girls this relationship, how real love is supposed to feel and what it looks like. And, in our house, how it's supposed to be. And I was so stuck trying to make that happen. My reality is not that. I'm missing it. My girls are growing up, they're seeing things, I'm so in my head, not living my life the way I want it. So when I started shifting into, like, okay, my family unit is me and my girls. How do I want to show up as a mom? How do I want to live my life? What do I want to show them? Like, I could just start changing everything. And it wasn't like an overnight thing. I think it was slow aha moments and realizations, and having conversations with you and the girls, and realizing these small shifts and changes I can make in my days and how I talk to myself, and um, just letting that inner self-talk become more positive and louder and stronger helps me. Now my days look like I don't really think about them that much, and I live more of my days in the present moment versus in my mind.
Yeah. And in the times where you do need to communicate with him, you my observation of you and how you have shifted over the months that we've been together is your ability to communicate from that place of strength, of boundaries, of not getting sucked back into the emotional pull that he's trying to entice you with. You are just so like, this is what's happening. You can see the girls this time or whatever it is that you're communicating. And it's no longer a negotiation. It's no longer a hope that he's going to show up differently to the conversation. So you're able to navigate the communication you have to have when you have to have it. And you're not like trying to stir up more conversation when you don't have to have it. So you
Yeah.
freed up so much of your time and energy around him and trying to get him to understand or see things or do something differently. You really
Yeah.
like put to peace his decisions are his decisions and I have control of what my decisions are and how I move forward in tending to myself so that I can continue to be the mom and the woman that I want to be.
Yeah, definitely. I think once I started setting the boundaries for myself, It I think in the past before I had trouble, it wasn't necessarily setting the boundary, it was holding the boundary. Like, if you cross the boundary, then normally in the past, I was just like, "Oh, whatever, my boundaries don't work anyway, so just gonna stop." But with the support that I had, it was, "Okay, no, this is the boundary, and if you cross it, I'm going to do this instead." And the more I leaned into that and relied on myself and listened to myself, the more I saw him drop off, really. So I like you said, I gave his shit back to him to deal
Yes.
with, and I can deal with my stuff. So that's what I did. And the more I did it, the farther away he has gotten. And now the co-parenting, um, is kind of non-existent. So yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop to see if he does try to pop back up. But now I have, I went to court, I have set the boundaries, I've done all the things on my end that I need to do to keep my kids safe and live in a healthy environment. So what he chooses to do with his time is on him. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yes. And one other big piece that I've observed in you throughout this process is being able to watch him and his choices around new women in his life and not being sucked back in by the illusion of happiness, perhaps that's happening there, or or being able to sit with the parts of you that are feeling something around that. Because I know for a lot of women, one of the biggest fears of saying, "Yes, I'm gonna do this work. I'm gonna have to let him go." One of the biggest fears is then watching him move on and like, is he gonna change for the new woman? Is all of the work that I did, is she gonna get to benefit from that? And I hear that so much. So speak to that a little bit because you have just navigated that beautifully.
Yeah, when I started this program, that was probably another push too, because I had realized he was gaslighting me, when I started the program because he was hiding this other girlfriend, already put our children around her, had my children lie to me about it. I mean, like, at this point, he's wrapping them up in it too, and I'm like, "Okay, this is not okay." And yeah, so to watch the whole narcissistic cycle replay with somebody else right in front of me, it was really hard. It was really hard at first. I remember getting on Slack and being like, "I don't even care. I wanna be that's in the cycle. I don't care. I need to be heard." And it was just that, and you were like, this is your nervous system latching on to the high and the low. Like, you're in the low and you're seeking for that high. You're trying to find it. So when there's another shift when I realize, okay, this is what he does. This is the cycle. It doesn't matter if it was this girl or the other girl or whoever or me. It didn't matter who it was. He's doing the same thing. And the bottom line is he's doing it for himself. And that's not what I want. I want a pure relationship filled with true compassion and love and understanding. And I was not getting that from him. So at first, I was extremely jealous of this new source or new supply for him, and it was really hard for me to wrap my head around it all. And for a little bit of time, I did think like, "Oh, he's changing for her." But I think I being in the program and watching it happen like at the same simultaneously, it allowed me to not go into those thoughts as deep because you just helped me depersonalize it and look at it from the outside looking in. And then also you made me realize that maybe I was projecting a lot of myself onto his new girlfriend and seeing that, okay, maybe I'm seeing an old part of myself in her. And it's almost like I felt bad for her too, because I'm like, he's about to do the same thing to you, and you have no idea. He's so good at what he does, and you already probably hate me. You think I'm the crazy ex. You have no idea. And there's nothing I can say, nor did I want to get in the middle. I mean, some parts might have wanted to
Yeah.
intervene there, but, um, yeah, the more I could just depersonalize it, and I was able to let that relationship kind of unfold and let me and my girls be on the outside of it and just try to not be involved in it.
Yeah. Which is a huge feat. Like, to say that you to say that you did that is like, I can't overstate how much intentionality and self-work and time we spent with your parts and processing through the grief of it and the emotions. Like, you put in a lot of effort to be able to now be more detached from I see what he's doing, and that no longer has this emotional pull on any part of me. I'm no longer in that I'm no longer in that reactive place
Yeah.
of acting before I even understand what I'm doing, right? It's not impulsive, it's not compulsive. It's just I can take a step back. I can be with myself and my parts. I can feel the feelings because I safely know how to do that.
Mhm.
And then I can not respond or respond in a way that's, you know, healthy for the long-term mental health of myself and this dynamic.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think the more I tended to myself, it gave me the one, like the confidence in myself that, okay, I can do this. And everything that I'm feeling and how I want to react and what I want to say, I'll just tend to those parts. So then on the outside in the real world, I'm not coming from that place of crazy or that place of being the crazy. I can just, I don't know, more embody my life and what I want to do and how I want to live versus holding on to something that doesn't even serve me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did it so beautifully. How else, in what other parts of your life did you see effects of this work?
Um, I would say probably so the things that since I had all this time after him, like I started realizing how much energy I was putting into him and putting nothing into myself. So you would always ask me like, what is something that you would like to do for yourself this week? And that was always such a hard question for me to answer because I'm like, I don't know. It's always what do the kids need? What are they gonna do? What does he need? It was never about me. So I started walking more and I started meditating, which meditating was probably the I don't want to say the best, but one of the biggest shifts for me or one of the biggest tools I use because in the beginning I would start meditating and I could barely sit there for like 2 or 3 minutes and all these things and thoughts coming up in my head. And now I can sit for like 15, 20 minutes sometimes and not even realize the time is like escaping me. And when I feel lonely or feel like I just don't have anybody, I like to meditate because it allows me to be able to tap into that like that true self, the higher self energy. And I don't feel alone. I feel like I know there's something greater here. I know there's something holding me. And I know that I am moving in my life and living my life the best way I know how. And everything else, I've witnessed everything else just starting to unfold for me and just working out. The synchronicity is just the more I pay attention to things, like everything is just working out. I mean, not every day is easy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's so much better, and I have a lot more days now that I'll go by and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even think about him," or "It's been a few days since I thought of him," versus before when I was grasping for times to just get a few minutes to not think about him. So just totally shifting that in my life, and now I go through my nights of a full sleep. I wake up, like, and I go through my day, and I'm with my clients at work, and I'm working out, and then I can come home and enjoy my evenings with my kids and be present. And now our bath times look like we're playing music, we're dancing, we're singing, we're laughing. Like we're enjoying life.
Yeah. You reclaimed so much time. Like, I look at this like the flower that's budded, right? It hasn't opened yet. And as you do this work, you open, and like time expands because you're no longer being sucked or giving yourself the I don't know the right metaphor. You're like he's no longer occupying so much of yourself. So you have time to actually do the workout, actually do the meditation, to actually cook food that you want to eat, to actually give your daughters a bath and not like it just gives you back so much of yourself. And through all of that time, you get to find new parts of yourself. And what am I liking right now? And what do I Where can I ask for help? And you just get to steward your own life, which feels so to have that
Free.
agency. Yeah,
Yeah.
freeing. Absolutely.
I have felt that a lot, the freeing. Like, sometimes I'll
Yeah.
come home and I'll be like, "I don't have anything to do." And before I would be like, I would get down, like, "Where's my friends?" Well, like, nobody's here, you know? And now I'm like, "Oh, wish, what am I gonna do with all my time?" Like, I have so much time. It's just my whole just outlook about it is more positive too.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing, well, putting yourself back in the place that you were when we had that free call. What did you need to hear in that moment to help make that leap into the unknown feel like something that was manageable or something that you needed? What wisdom do you want to impart on the woman listening that's like, "Oh my god, I am Abby. I am totally where she was and I want to be where she is." What does she need to hear right now?
Mm, I knew you were gonna ask me this. I think that when you feel you're at rock bottom, like, you know you can't keep going like this, but you want to change, just reach out for the help. Sign up for the free call. Just do it. Just do it because you have no idea what's on the other side, but I promise you it's better than where you're at right
Yeah.
now. And it just be honest and open with yourself mainly because it's okay. And there are other people and other women out there that have done this, that are doing it currently, and that will do it in the future. And you're not alone. I think that's probably the biggest thing. You're not alone because in these types of relationships, we get so alone, and whether we isolate ourselves or we get isolated by them, we think we're in it alone and we have nowhere to go. And that's just not true. There's so many of us out there, and you're not alone. And Bre has a group with a bunch of women that feel the same way as you do, and it's gonna change your life.
Yeah. I always say with this specific issue, with healing from narcissistic abuse or being in a relationship with a narcissistic person, we actually can't do it alone
Mm.
because of the nature of the relationship. Our mind has been so like turned on its side and upside down and we don't even know what's real. We feel so crazy and confused. Like we just keep ping-ponging around inside of our own brain and there's nobody there to reflect back a different reality. And when you're stuck in that aloneness and that confusion, if you're not if you're not seeking somebody that can help you see something different, you're going to keep seeing things the same way. And there's only so far that the podcast will take you or that a self-help book will take you, right? Those things keep you sort of in the information gathering, the I'm trying to understand him oftentimes. Whereas when you can turn towards yourself and say, I'm at a rock bottom where I actually can't keep doing those things. I can't keep focusing on him. I need to start actualizing this work. I need to start personalizing this work. That's the shift. And to have somebody there, whether it's the coach and or a group or whoever your support person is, that's like, it's actually not asking for too much to say that to him. Or that's actually a really healthy thing to a healthy boundary, right? You're getting that feedback of something other than what's inside your own brain. And that's vital in these types of situations.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that. I also think that helps you find your people. You know what I mean? You're stuck around this main unhealthy person in your life. You don't know what healthy looks like. Like, you might think you do, and you're trying to get that, but you're trying to get it from an unhealthy person.
Yeah.
So when you have the support, and then you can start relaying that into your life and finding your people. Like, okay, now I can talk to this person because they get it and they understand and they also want to live life like that. So you find your people and your friends, and then eventually relationship. You know what I mean? You see everything so differently once you get out of the muck from it.
Yeah. Yeah. The muck is scary and not knowing where you're going is also scary. So like just normalizing every part of this feels scary. One, the decision to do the work in the unfamiliar territory leads to relief and staying in the pain or the scary of what you know is going to give you that same perpetual cycle, the same 3 months for now, looking back and saying, God, I wasted another 3 months. How many 3 months am I going to waste by staying in that place?
Yeah, really. I mean, that's 100% true. And now, like, I'm just as you were talking, I'm thinking, I don't know what my life looks like in 3 months from now. I don't
Yeah,
know what it looks like in a year or 5 years or 10 years. But what I do know is I'm going to be happy because every day I choose to live aligned with myself. And whatever comes from that, I'm just going to trust that it's the right thing. And I also have the knowledge and the strength to get out or to be aware of the red flags to not get myself here again. So,
yeah,
whether that is alone for the next 5 years with just me and my girls, I'm fine. And whether that is I meet Mr. Right next week, then great.
yeah.
I'm gonna ride with whatever life brings at this point.
And you have the tools now
Y-
to be able to ride with the emotions of every possible twist and turn. So you don't have to necessarily know what for sure is coming because you're like, well, whatever happens, I know I have the tool to be with my feelings. I know I can regulate my nervous system. I know I can find that clarity I'm looking for. You've built all of these skills that work in a lot of different situations. And
Yeah.
that gives a lot of internal peace and safety within yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm also saving just like other relationships in my life too, like whether that be professional client relationships or friend relationships. I've spent so much time exhausting my feelings and things that were going on with me with him. I'm just like, I don't have to talk about it anymore. I actually don't have the energy to talk about it anymore because I am doing the work myself to not need that to come from anybody else but myself.
So beautiful. Ah, it was such a joy to work with you, Abby. The way that you showed up with, you put so much importance on this work for yourself and you showed up and you utilized every aspect of the program. And just, I mean, the transformation is hard to describe to the people listening over the months that we worked together. But sitting with you on this call, you look different. You have a brightness to you. You present differently. Like you can feel your self assuredness. And that's such a invaluable thing to be able to gain. So
Yeah.
thank you for showing up for yourself and for
Yeah.
making yourself a priority because it's paying dividends for you now.
Yeah. Yeah. I came into the program crying out of pain, and I'm leaving the program crying out of tears of joy because I'm so thankful I found you and the girls here. And just, I'm just so thankful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I am too. And I would love for you to help me pull an oracle card as we conclude the episode for today. So if you can, go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm just going to invite us both to think about what the message needs to be for the woman listening. And I'm shuffling the deck. So whenever you feel like the shuffle is complete, you let me know when to stop.
Yeah.
Gut. It is a card that has a picture of intestines on it. So let me find gut in the book and I'll read to you what it says. Gut brings an invitation to hop on the superhighway to your own wisdom. Gut will not and should not be ignored. You're being urged to check that you are in alignment. Gut is where all of the answers live. What messages are you receiving? Are you stuck? Are you absorbing what nourishes you? Trust yourself. Listen deeply to your intuition. Perhaps you are experiencing some discomfort in the gut. Know that this is a cue that there are certain things in your life that you're not metabolizing. When your gut rejects something, it is for your own protection. So heed the warning and don't continue to ingest the things, people, relationships, and energy that are toxic to your system. Stop tolerating things you shouldn't. Gut balancing is a mix of listening to yourself, trusting your intuition, and honoring what is right and nourishing for you. When you care for gut, it will give you a deep sense of alignment and flow. Your system allows for what is sustaining you to move through it with a sense of ease and vitality.
There's your sign
Oh,
to book the
th-
session.
there's your sign. Yes. Well, Abby, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experience, your journey. Thank you for taking the journey. Any last word that you want to leave?
Um, I don't know. I think that card was perfect. There's your sign.
Yeah.
If you're stuck and you feel it in your gut, you got to do it. You got to just do it, trust. And there are many of us out there right where I started. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you so
thanks
much.
for
Thank you.
having me.
Thank you. Thank you. As we end this episode today, I want you to take a moment. And if you're in a space where you can close your eyes, I want you to close your eyes. If you are not, I want you to try to just pay as much attention to what I'm saying as you can. But I want you to really feel into what Abby shared. Feel into this possibility that she showed you of how she went from being totally consumed and immersed and absorbed by her ex. How she went from that place of living, waking up in this constant rumination, this mental energy that was draining her, that was taking her away from her children, her life, that was just consuming on every level. And how she moved through the feelings that had to come up around finding closure, around feeling the grief, around feeling the sadness, around letting go of that family unit image as she had in her mind, how she made her way through that journey and is now sitting here today on this podcast episode in a podcast that she was listening to when she was in the place that you were in. Full circle moment, how she's sitting here sharing with you that it's possible. And I want you just to feel into your body that truth, that it's possible, that if Abby can do it, that you can do it. And it just takes a matter of having the right support and the right tools. You heard her say today that she has changed her entire life, right? She found this key that let her finally find closure with her ex without him needing to do anything. She can now converse with him as she has to co-parent, and that's it. She finally has had that shift from focusing on him to focusing on her. And now she's uncovering all of these beautiful gems about who she is and how she wants to live her life and how she wants to raise her girls. Feeling into that possibility and letting your body expand into there's a truth there for you. I know being in the place that you're in can feel really hopeless, can feel really dark. It can feel really scary, like there's not a way through. So come back to Abby's words. Come back to her exact shares around this beautiful transformation that she has put a lot of work into, but it is paying off in dividends. A word that I really like to use when I talk to people about my program is it's an investment. And I know sometimes we see that and we're like, this is a marketing word for cost. And it's like, yeah, maybe. But also, that's what this is. If you think about a cost of going on a vacation, your return on investment for a vacation is maybe a week of, a week of being gone. It probably takes you 3 or 4 days to actually decompress to the point where you're relaxing. So maybe you have 1 or 2 full days of actually feeling some sort of nervous system shift from that vacation. So if you think about your ROI from a vacation, of course you're making wonderful memories and there's a lot of beautiful things there. But this type of investment is teaching you the skills, is not only helping you literally reclaim hours of your day and days of your life from focusing on him, but it's giving you the tools that you need for every trigger that could come up in every relationship in every part of your life. So the way that Abby talks about being able to identify her parts and sit with herself and come back into that self energy, that what she's saying is she's learned how to regulate her system when she gets dysregulated. And if you think about all of the time that you get dysregulated, whether it's in traffic or it's with your kids who want the banana peeled the specific way, or it's with your boss who didn't like the verbiage that you had in the email, or it's going into a review, or it's you having to give reviews to your employees. we are constantly in this dance of being triggered and being regulated, being dysregulated and being regulated. And so when I use the word investment, that's what I mean. Because when you're doing this work, it's not just for a week of feeling better. It's for a lifetime of being able to like compound on your healing. So I love that Abby had such a real transformation because she went all in. She went all in with her investment monetarily and energetically. She showed up to the sessions. She was engaged. She did the homework. She really was using the whole beautiful container. So again, this is important for you to hear because it's possible. There is a way out that is possible. And perhaps if you've been trying things and you've been trying to piecemeal some healing together with therapy here and there, or a book here and there, or you're just binging this podcast, hoping that it's going to help you really shift, I invite you into something deeper. If I resonate with you, if the way that I work with clients resonates with you, I would love to have a further conversation about where you are, what's happening, where you're struggling, what you need support with. And if that's in alignment, I will absolutely share more about the program that Abby went through. To do that, you just schedule an intro session. So in the show notes, you'll find a link, and that intro session is free. It's an hour of time that we spend together. And I love it. I love getting to know you as a podcast listener, as a person who is struggling with something that is very dear and passionate to my heart, that I have also struggled with. This is why I was put on this planet. So let me serve you if it feels like you are drawn to the way that I support women. The link to that intro session, again, is in the show notes. And go back and please re-listen to this episode because there's so much hope and inspiration here. So until I see you in that intro session or in the next episode, please, please, please remember that you are not alone.